Welcome to the Way Up podcast with your host, Geoff Knoll. Today's episode is one you won't want to miss as we dive into the future with renowned futurist Thomas Frey. With over a decade of experience in accurately predicting future trends, Thomas Frey's garnered a global following for his unparalleled insight into what lies ahead. From starting businesses to assisting in the development of countless others, Thomas brings a unique blend of reality-based thinking and visionary foresight to the table. Before founding the Da Vinci Institute, Thomas spent 15 years at IBM, where he earned an impressive 270 awards, making him the most awarded engineer in IBM's history. A member of the 999 Society, his intellect and insights have captivated audiences ranging from government officials to Fortune 500 executives. Join us as we explore the driving forces behind future trends, the subtle nuances that can be leveraged, and the implications for industries and individuals alike. From NASA, TEDx stages, and Disney, Thomas's keynote talks have left a lasting impact on organizations worldwide. Tune in as we unravel the mysteries of tomorrow and gain valuable insights from one of the world's foremost futurists. The Way Up podcast is proudly brought to you by my real estate team, the Noble Team eXp Realty. We're redefining industry standards in the markets we operate, distinguishing ourselves from the crowd. We leverage our uniqueness to gain a strategic edge, all while elevating not only ourselves, but also those in our world, including our competitors. Join us on this journey. Your time and investment will undoubtedly be well placed. Hang with us till the end. I know you won't be disappointed. I am really excited to be here with my new friend, Thomas Frey. He's a futurist. This guy is incredible, and I have all kinds of questions for you. So Thank you for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate you, Thomas.
Yeah, it's a great honor to be here with you today. Thanks.
Awesome. So really, I want you to talk a little bit about what you do as a futurist and kind of how you got into that role, because I know that's not where you started. So just expand on that just a little bit for us.
Yeah, it's actually taken me quite a few years to actually refine what the hell does a futurist do?
Right.
So in general, my job is to help expand people's understanding of what the future holds. See, we're all we've all experienced the past. The past is, and we see evidence of the past all around us. In fact, all information we come into contact with is essentially history. So the past is very knowable, and yet we're going to be spending the rest of our lives in the future. So it's almost as if we're walking backwards into the future. We're a very backward-looking society, but my job as a futurist to help turn people around. So how does the future get created? Well, the future gets created in the minds of everybody around us. We all participate in creating the future. Certainly, some of us have much more influence than others. But the future gets created in the minds of the people that are today. I mean, we all have some vision of the future. So we tend to make decisions today based on our understanding of what the future holds. So I use this phrase quite a bit: the future creates the present. Now, this is just the opposite of what most people think. Most people think that what we're doing today is going to create the future, but from a little different perspective, it's these visions of the future that we hold in our heads determine our actions today. So if we change somebody's vision of the future, we change the way they make decisions today. And that's actually how I justify everything that I do.
That is the best explanation I've heard, and that makes so much sense. I'm glad that you said that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to you. I didn't mean to interrupt. That was just like clicked in my brain. Holy crap, that was a wonderful explanation.
Yeah, so that in my mind is my role is to change people's vision of what the future holds. Now, sometimes I'll make a prediction, and even if the prediction is wrong, it still has value because it forces you to think about that intersection of time and space sometime in the future. And as a result, you have to come to your own conclusion. So there is great value in actually forcing people out of the day-to-day mindset today.
So you've built a career in this. You're speaking to Fortune 500 businesses. You are speaking to big corporations. You've written a few books about the subject, communicating with the future, and Epiphany Z: Eight Radical Trans Visions for Transforming Your Future.
Yeah.
What got you to come to this as a career field or as a passion? How did you shift your focus? Because you were with IBM as an engineer for
Yeah.
15 years. how
Right.
how did you get into, now I'm looking to what's ahead?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I always found myself time shifted into the future. Um, um, People, sit around thinking, well, what are we gonna eat today? And I'm asking myself, well, what are people going to be eating 10 years from now? Um, where are we gonna stay tonight? And I'm saying, well, where are we going to be staying 10 years from now? And I'm always time shifted farther ahead than most of the average people. So it just seemed like a logical thing to do. Um, Now there's lots of foresight techniques and foresight training, and we during COVID we actually put together this book called Future Like a Boss, um, and you can go to futurelikeaboss.com and read all about it. So we created this course, and we have a 300-page textbook, full color, um, and then we created 14 video lessons that go along with it. So this is all of the unusual, quirky techniques that I've personally developed over the years. Um, and this helps people kind of stretch their thinking, stretching their imagination into what the future holds. Uh, so that, so as an example, one of them is one of the techniques is called question mapping. So if you start with a central question that you can't answer, then you start asking questions surrounding it: the who, what, when, where, how, and why, and then what came before and what came after, and then once you get into each of these questions that you've asked, then you could ask more of the who, what, when, where, how, and why around that. And by the time you're done, then you start saying, "Wow, um, I didn't really get the answer totally, but I'm pretty dang close to getting it." So, um, like, like, in a lot of the presentations I do, I ask a lot of questions now. In 2040, will most people own their own robot? And what is this robot going to do? Is this a standalone robot that we have walking around our homes? Is this a robotic dog that walks along with us when we go places? What's the purpose of this robotic dog? Is it to warn us of danger? What kind of dangers can it detect? And when it sees something, how will it react? Is it going to start growling at things, or will it talk to us and we talk back to it? And does it stand up on its feet? Can it wash our dishes at home? Can it cook food for us? And then you just start asking more and more questions as you go through this. And um, and then it takes you down a bunch of rabbit holes too, which that's where the best part is, I think. That's the best entertainment of the day.
Well, hopefully the robots of the future are better than the robot vacuum cleaner that I have at my house. Because that thing annoys me. I don't love it. It's fine if it's running when we're not home, but it seems to pick, and I'm sure you can set it up. You just have to be a little bit smarter than I am, but I'm sure you can set it for, I'm not going to be home at 9 o'clock, so go ahead and hit it at 9, but
Yeah,
seems
you
to
can't.
always get going whenever I'm in the middle of something or a phone call and it's obnoxious.
Right. And it doesn't talk to you. You can't talk to it.
Right.
Uh, if we had that conversational interface, that would make things a lot different with that robotic vacuum cleaner. Um, and it really does pick the optimal time to annoy you.
It sure
Uh,
does.
yeah,
I was
that
just thinking about this dog thought too, a robot dog. I feel like the unpredictability of a real dog, you don't know what it's going to do. If you know that the robot dog it has these functions, That's a little
Yeah,
bit less intimidating than a real dog that you
yeah,
don't know what it's going to do. It might rip you open. It may just roll over and let you pet its belly, but
yeah,
who knows? The
yeah.
unknown.
So
So interesting.
people in the future, they're going to lean more towards robot dogs or real dogs, or will they have both? And how will the robot dogs interact with real dogs?
Yeah.
And so it
Well, you
opens
wouldn't
up.
have to feed a robot dog, and it probably won't pee on your rug. So that's a
Yeah,
win. It's
yeah.
good.
But you'll have to get it fixed. You'll have to get it repaired.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like neutered or spayed. I'm like, really? I had no idea. This is crazy. I knew this
Yeah.
was going to be interesting.
So, so if you look around your office, around your home, you will find virtually nothing in the electronic area that's over 10 years old. You start thinking about this. There's virtually nothing that's over 10 years old. Maybe a few things. Um, I came to the conclusion that the only thing I have that's over 10 years old is extension cords.
Right. They've been patched with electrical tape in 19 places. It's definitely a fire hazard.
Yeah, because my robot dog has stepped on it a few times.
Yeah. Stinking robot dog. It's
Uh,
crazy.
so whatever we have in our house, all of the everybody's worried about AI taking over everything. I'm not concerned about that at all. It's a different kind of intelligence. I mean, it doesn't know how to take initiative. It doesn't know how to evaluate things the way we do. Um, and they'll get better, but it's still a different kind of intelligence than human intelligence. Um, it has no motivation to like start a business and make money. It does what would it use the money for? Maybe for a robot repairman to come out and fix it. Maybe for power.
Right.
But yeah, it doesn't really have too many needs or wants or any of that. So that's I think that's pretty interesting. You start looking at all the things that differentiate AI from humans. It doesn't have the need or desire to go on vacation. There's no vacation economy built into it. So how would it be able to take the initiative to actually design vacations for people in the future
Hmm.
uh, based
That's
on the feedback
interesting.
of the people that have gone on those vacations, but it doesn't have an intuitive sense as to what people like and enjoy and how to relax and things like that. Uh, so anyway, there's lots of unanswered questions there.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting
Oh,
to
wait a
think
second.
about. How
Uh, all right.
everything good?
Somehow I muted things here.
Oh, okay. I can hear you on my end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, you're coming through. Sorry.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, no worries. So, when you were a kid, what did you dream about doing? It sounds like it's probably been a little bit of a interesting road getting where you're at. What did you dream of when you were a kid?
So when I was a kid, I was born and raised on a farm up in South Dakota. I spent my childhood on a John Deere tractor driving around fields, and I had nothing to entertain me other than my own mind. Um, so it'd be a really boring day if I didn't come up with anything new and exciting to think about. Um, so I've told people that this whole process of spending countless hours on a in a field by yourself, it's enabled me to master the fine art of contemplative thought. And I'm pretty sure that I haven't mastered anything, and I'm not even sure what contemplative thought is.
That was
But
a new word for me, by the way. Just so I'm gonna look it up. So I didn't want to feel dumb and say that out loud. But since you said we don't even know what it is, okay, we're in agreement. Neither do I.
um, but there's something different with kids today when you're constantly being fed stuff as opposed to being forcing your mind to go off and do things on its own. That's a radical difference. And so many kids, I have a lot of grandkids, and so they have to have an iPad or a phone or something feeding them.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they start getting angry and frustrated. And I don't know, that's a whole different generation, different expectations about everything.
Mhm.
Um, so what did I want to become when I was a child? I wanted to become an inventor. Uh, I thought everything that Thomas Edison did was absolutely terrific. I thought it was great. And then I found out that he was really kind of a jerk, and he wasn't, he was just human like the rest of us.
Yep.
Uh, and yeah, I mean that's the same with people today like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all of the kind of the people that have blazed new trails. Um, they they're just people underneath, and so we uh, we have to make exceptions for the quirkiness that they have going on in the background.
Yeah, no, that is an interesting thing to think about too, because you see people in all these different fields that are leaders, or they're excelling, standing out above their peers,
Yeah.
and you think that they have something different going on in their life than you, and they're just they're creative and they're risk takers. They're
Right.
they're
Right.
not they're not afraid to get out and do something, even if that means they fall on their face and people see it happen.
So one of the things I growing up, I always assumed that you invent something new and it was perfect right out of the chute.
Mm.
Never understood that you had to constantly refine it and reinvent it again and again and again. Um, and in a lot of my talks today, I have to remind people that the cars that we drive today have actually been in development for over 125 years. It's actually taken that long to get to cars that are this good. Um, and so virtually everything else that we have in our lives has taken a whole huge series of events getting refined and reinvented. And you put these things together and it come up with something totally different. The smartphone is the combination of about 20, 30 different devices all jammed together into one little machine. And it's become kind of our most valuable possession right
Yeah, we
now.
can fit it in our pocket, and it is literally
Yeah.
part of most people's everyday.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I think that kind of moving forward, we're all going to have our own personal AI buddy bot that we wake up in the morning, we start having conversations with our buddy bot, uh, asks us how we're doing and uh, fills in our schedule for us, and it becomes the friend we always wish we had. It becomes the our main cheerleader, the guardian of our privacy. It can finish our sentences for us.
Mhm.
It becomes a conversational coach. It becomes a business coach, academic coach. It just helps us in everything that we're doing. And then I believe that that becomes our most valuable possession. And I think that that is a shift that we're going to go through in our lifetime here, not too distant future.
There's a movie that you just talking about that reminded me of, and I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but it's this guy gets a new cell phone, and it's supposed to be like Siri or Alexa or something like that. One of those.
Is that the movie Her?
No, it's not called that. It's called like it's whatever the name of the thing is, but
Okay.
the main character was in a show called Workaholics. I think Adam Devine, I think is his name, but
Okay.
um anyways, it's just showing how this AI technology type thing in his phone starts actually interacting with him, not just in the AI, but like looking after his emotion. How are you feeling today? Like really, really getting into being a companion, an AI companion, like you were describing. Very interesting. But
Right,
she was looking out for him and not doing what he wanted in the movie. But
right.
that's off topic. Just interesting. You made me think of that. But so the premise of the show the is really looking at your journey to getting where you are today. You know, the steps that you took to get where you are from being the kid riding around on the John Deere tractor in South Dakota to traveling the world. Like literally your career has taken you all over the world. You've been afforded some really incredible opportunities to get on stages, speaking to thousands of people, sharing the stage with huge name people. And like
Um,
what's something you can identify that set you up for that trajectory in your life?
well, in 1984, I actually got my first personal computer. I was working at IBM, got the employee discount. I was able to buy my own PC, set it up at home. And I remember taking it out of the box, and you take it out of the box, and then you start taking out the manuals that go along with it. And I had a stack of manuals, about, I don't know, 8 inches thick. And I remember every time I had a problem, somebody would tell me, "Yeah, it's in the manual. Just read the manual." And I always thought, well, that's the stupidest thing ever because I could read the manual, but I would not know what I'm reading. And then I just want an answer for this quick question. I want 10-second piece of information. That's all I want. And I started thinking about that. There's these 10-second pieces of information that are all over our lives. And if we have that piece of information, we can go from point C to point D. If we don't have it, then we stall out. It might take us 2 weeks, might take us 2 months, or sometimes we just never get that little key 10-second piece of information. But there's so much of our lives are just oriented around these little tiny pieces of information that we don't have. Um, so I wrote my first business plan in 1984 with my computer. Um, and this was a business plan to create the Longmont University Center. So I I went ahead and created the Longmont University Center, and we started holding classes on uh, topics like um, how to run Lotus 123, how to run Microsoft Word, and something else. This is real early on. People didn't know how to do any of the basic stuff on computers at that time. So that was relatively successful operation. And then we were going to we didn't figure out how to raise enough money to actually turn it into a big operation. So then we handed off what we did to Front Range Community College in Denver, and we got them to set up a campus in Longmont, Colorado. Then, as a result of that, but then that opened the door for me to start a series of other businesses, and that's what I started doing. So then I started like I don't know 17 different businesses, and I wish all of them would have been successful, but and some of them are still around today. Um, but even today, I have my fingers in like 5 different startups at the moment, and I so I don't know. I have that kind of entrepreneurial lifestyle thinking going on in my head all the time.
Yeah. Are the businesses that you're in mostly like AI, technology, those types of businesses?
Um, yeah, there's AI in quite a few of them. Um, yeah, one of them, I'll just mention this because I just gave a talk at Copernicus University in Warsaw, Poland, and and I proposed to them the idea of setting up this competition, a global competition for creating a new type of learning, and and they're very interested in moving forward on this. And so I took a defined piece of learning. We're using Econ 101 as our defined piece of learning, and we're asking people to submit entries from all over the world into how they would recreate Econ 101 and then turn it into something that's quicker to learn, more memorable. So it becomes kind of the new standard for courses that are taught in colleges. Um, so if, as an example, a movie producer actually looked at it, they would say, oh, well, I can turn this into a dramatic storyline, and then it would be much quicker to go through this as a student. It'd be much more memorable and more entertaining, and we could compress it down so it takes far less time to learn all the material. And then if you put it in the hands of somebody that was a game designer would look at it and say, oh, well, we can gamify all these different aspects of it. And so we can actually have somebody that actually plays their way through the entire course. I was thinking about this later. I thought, wow, that'd be really cool if all the college courses were just games that you could play your way through. That would
Yeah,
be
that sounds brilliant. What college age kid does not want to play video games all of their learning?
right.
How awesome is that?
Right. And it's amazing that you could actually do that with the right mindset. And if somebody was a VR creator or somebody is a social media influencer, everybody comes at it through a different, using a different lens to look at this problem.
Hmm.
Uh, so my thinking is that if you have an award each year, maybe $1 million reward for somebody that wins it, then you repeat it year after year after year. The winning entries then become the baseline for the next year, and so this is a process to get to an unknown outcome. You don't know after 10 years, you can't even imagine what that would look like. But this I think has the potential to reinvent all college level learning, probably all grade school level learning too. And I think this is long overdue.
I I actually love the idea. I think that's fantastic. I think that the way our school systems are are working, it's not working. You
Oh,
know,
right, right.
it's a broken system that's really designed at creating these factory workers instead of getting people to think outside of the box
Well,
and
for every young child, they're bored to tears. I mean,
oh,
this
for
is so
sure.
boring. They could jump on YouTube or on TikTok or something, and it's way more entertaining. This boring crap about learning math tables or something, I don't want to do that.
I can't even help my son with math because it's not the same math. I don't know it. I have to relearn if I'm going to be a useful assistant.
Right, right. Um, yeah, and then we teach all kinds of things that I don't think are important. Um, yeah, I mean, is it important that I know what a predicate is? Uh, yeah, there's just okay.
I
uh,
agree with you. I sat in school and I didn't have good grades in school. I can imagine you did. I feel like you're a lot smarter than me. Like I can just
uh,
tell in the conversation that
yeah, but
this is different. But
it just seemed like we were learning all this meaningless stuff.
yes,
I know I actually with all my college classes that there was three classes that I concluded that were pretty meaningless. The first one is I actually had to take a course in slide rules. Um, this is at the time. Do you even know what a slide rule is?
I don't think so. No,
Uh,
I was trying to figure that out.
So after the abacus came the slide rule,
Okay, I've heard of an abacus. I know what that is.
and then came the calculator. So this is the mechanical thing that you slide
Oh,
back
so you
and forth.
can look at it. It's just the step above counting your fingers.
Yeah, these were fairly sophisticated devices back
Oh,
then.
okay.
And so I had to take a course in it. And I remember arguing with my advisor at the time, do I really need to take this course? And he says all engineers know how to use slide rules. And so I took the course, but I've never used it in real life. So that was kind of a meaningless statement.
Mm-hmm.
So then the second one is I actually took a course in computer programming, and I thought, wow, this is such an antiquated thing. There's all these projections at the time about how computer programming is going to take over the world, and the computers at that time. This is back in 1973. At that time, computers were so precious. We never actually got to see the computer. This was back when you put them in these giant rooms and they had to have temperature controls and everything. So you punch everything out on cards, and then you submit a stack of cards, and it would do such complicated things as sort numbers or put something in alphabetical order. And I thought, there's no future in this. And that was learning Fortran programming. It shows what kind of a futurist I was back then. But yeah, it was just like 11 years later, then I got my own personal computer, and you could see the transition, how quickly that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then the final course that I thought was totally useless was calculus. It doesn't mean that nobody uses calculus, but I spent 15 years at IBM, never used calculus. My brother spent his whole lifetime as an avionics engineer at Honeywell, and he never used calculus. Um, so it doesn't mean it doesn't get used, but it was used at the time as kind of a weeding out course to weed out people that shouldn't be in the engineering
Yeah,
curriculum.
it's just like this is a really hard class, and if you're not smart enough,
Yeah.
you're not going to make the cut. But this is completely useless for the rest of your life.
And and so I don't know how many other useless classes are there out there? Probably a bunch. I mean, people just get all excited about this one thing and never actually put it to any
Hmm.
application for it. Um, but yeah, I think so. Today, um, it's no longer possible to anticipate the needs of business 4 to 5 years in advance because everything's moving so quickly. One of my main complaints about colleges today is that they're shooting behind the duck. Uh, that we need to anticipate where they're going to be 5, 10 years in the future, and it's virtually impossible to do.
Hmm.
Things are shifting very quickly. So how do you anticipate the needs and actually create curriculums much faster? The only way to do that is to parse it down into far smaller courses, something like a 1 hour course or a 2 hour course, and then offer certifications as opposed to entire degrees. Um, I think that's the direction that it's all heading at the moment. Um, there might be some other twists and turns along the way. We'll see. We'll see once my competition gets off the ground here.
Yeah, well, that's so interesting. Thomas,
Yeah.
I've just got a few minutes. I just want to ask you another what is something if you had to identify one thing in your lifetime that maybe it was a person, a connection, or somebody that a book that you read that just kind of opened your eyes and started you down your path that you're on.
Um, well, at one point I had a job down in Denver, um, and that was an hour commute for me uh, each way. And so they were just starting to come out with audiobooks at that point. And this really opened the door for me because I could throw these were cassette tapes that I would go to the grocery store and I would rent audiobooks and then play them back and forth all the way back and forth. And they were so I get so wrapped up in the storyline and what was going on in the audiobook that I would actually miss my exits. And one time I almost ran out of gas because I wasn't paying attention. But that caught me up on a whole lot of literature real fast. And that was one of the game changers for me, for sure.
Audiobooks have been big for me too. I listen when I'm driving pretty often.
Yeah, but nowadays there's you can get on podcasts, and there are so many podcasts that you find the right person on a podcast that you just mentally sync up with, and you say, "Ah, that guy's really got it together. He really knows what he's talking about."
Do you have one that you listen to regular?
Um, yeah, the Mark and Ben show I listen to a lot. That's Mark Andreessen, Ben Horowitz.
I've heard
Uh,
of it. I haven't listened to that one.
Yeah, they run the biggest VC firm in the country. Yeah, the last episode they were talking about the big battle going on between big tech and little tech. So the big trend is that once a business gets big enough, then it wants to start lobbing hand grenades behind it so that it keeps all the little guys from nipping at its heels. And so typically what they do is go to Washington and get a lot of legislation passed that prevents anybody from coming up and disturbing their turf. And that I found that so fascinating.
It
So
is. I'm
they think they had to be in Washington and play the politics game, but they're finding out that they have to pay lobbyists and actually go through all of that anyway. I mean, it's just like any other business.
Yeah, boy.